Oh my god, what am I doing? Hey guys, welcome to my channel, Just Thinking Out Loud. My name is Desi-Rae. So before I begin this video, I'm just going to say I am not a fan of bashing people. I know that would make my videos a lot more exciting for some people and put a lot more fire into the fight against the left mostly, which my channel really does anyway, even though I don't make that a point. This video is about my thoughts on the Young Black Leadership Summit and some of the themes that surround that, such as identity and collectivism, collective thinking. And I want to say that I am a half fan of what's going on. I'll explain what that means. So this is something that's been put on by Turning Point USA, sort of spearheaded by Candace Owens, who I don't really talk about, who is a champion for the victor mentality versus the victim mentality, and also breaking a lot of Black people in the United States away from the democratic, what they call plantation, which I really hate actually, which maybe I should talk about it in another video, but I'll touch briefly on that. I really think the whole idea of referring to other Black people as slaves in any way, shape, or form should stop. I think people should just debate the ideas themselves and not try to say you're being controlled or whatever. I think just the idea of you can't really think for yourself, whichever side you're on, I don't like it. I think it's demeaning. And I think, frankly, there's not enough love in there. And I think it's a holdover just from being conquered. I know that sounds silly, but nobody was taught to refer to other people who looked like them in this way before they were captured. And I know that didn't just start with European conquest, etc. But that to me is simply a continuation of that kind of thinking. And I don't condone it whatsoever. And I think it should stop. Whoever is saying it, that be people on the left or people on the right, you should stop calling people token Negroes, for example, and stop telling people that they should get off this plantation or that plantation. Just try and reach people from a place of this isn't actually benefiting you, or I don't think this is benefiting us because, and that can be from either side. So that's something I think needs to stop, but that was a tangent. About this Young Black Leadership Summit thing, there are a lot of important high-profile speakers that are going to be attending, such as the President of the United States, and also I think Ben Carson. Those people I am relatively a fan of. One of the books we had to read in high school growing up in Jamaica was actually Think Big, I think. And it was a very inspiring book, very religious, but Jamaica is pretty religious. So at least the minor brainwashing I had when I was younger did involve me thinking positive thoughts about Ben Carson. And I think he has accomplished great things as a brain surgeon. I can't remember who the other speakers are going to be. Those are the people that stood out in my head. But I think it's going to be something very good for, I almost said the Black community, but I also don't like that term. I think it's going to be good for just showing people that there are individuals who belong to a certain race, who think differently from what certain parties or certain groups of people would expect them to think. And I think that's really important, and I really support that. At the same time, I think that it is a continuation of identity politics, and that is the issue that I have with what's going on. I think it's the exact same thing, just from the other side. But I think that it is a great step from where we are right now, and I think it is better than how things are right now, because I am absolutely disgusted by entering into a world where there's one side of the political spectrum that just thinks that they can own the mentality of certain people just because they look a certain way. And they might say that's not what they're trying to do, but that is exactly how I read it and how it comes across to me, and I think that's what's happening. So anything that breaks people away from that specific prison first, I think is a good thing. However, I think there's more to be broken away from than that. I just think people need to break free from the mental prison of thinking that because they look a certain way or because other people who have gone through similar struggles and persevered in the way that they have because they think a certain way and they have bonded through that shared myth. Because I don't think it's an actual experience, I think it's history. But because they've bonded through that shared myth that only the things that those people say will actually help them. No, there are other ways to view the world and experience it than just the familiar ways. How is this any different from, say, the Black Caucus, which I think needs to be demolished? Absolutely. It's just something on the other side. It's, why does it need a qualifier? Why do you even have to put the word black there? I don't see why you need to do that. Why can't you just be a conservative? However, even though I asked that question right now, I know why. That's a core part of their identity, and I think that's okay. I don't think I can ever really adopt that, but even if I had kids here, for example, they would see it differently from me because they're not coming from my perspective, and I would expect that, and that's fine. But I see it differently, and I can see that you're still coming from this mindset of, why do you have to put a qualifier before everything? Like, why does it have to be black music? Why do you have to be a black conservative? Why does it have to be black art, for example? Why can't it just be those things? Something I always didn't like was, when someone paints a woman, which I do all the time, and they will say, this is a black woman. No, it's just a woman. So I don't know if those things that example can exemplify exactly what I'm trying to talk about. I don't understand why there needs to be a qualifier. What if you want to be independent? What if you don't want to be either conservative or liberal? Maybe you just want to debate certain topics. And I'm not saying that's me, but I would be a fan of anyone who thinks anything just independently. I just don't want this attachment of identity to your way of thinking. So that's what I think of what's happening. I'm a half fan, as I said. I think it's good, but it's almost like if there's a veil, it's just a tip of the spear. And I think the way that mostly Candace, from what I've seen, just for publicity, I'm sure she's not the only person making this work, but I think it's good. I think it's effective, and I think it's working, and I do like that. But at the same time, I don't like that it is still identity politics. And I hope that one day people can break free of that kind of thinking. So that's what I think. If you like the way I think, then please consider supporting the channel. You can go to justthinkingoutloud.tv/donate and make some donations. You can also buy my art. You can also follow me on Twitter, and you can also check out some of my other channels such as Crypto Ramble or Desi-Rae Arts. Also, don't forget that there is an audio version of this channel, and you can listen to some of my podcasts. Just go to justthinkingoutloud.tv/podcast, or you can also just search for it in a podcast directory. Bye.